everybody, and welcome to another Linfield Coaches CatChat. Joe Stewart here with head softball coach Jackson Vaughn. Just days after you guys clinched yet another regular season conference championship. How you doing with yet another title on the resume now?
I mean, it just always is nice to accomplish the goal that the team has to start the year. And our goal every year is to try to win the conference title. And it's tough. There's been years we haven't been able to do it. And I thought this year was another one of those years. There's lots of great competition in the conference, good with Fox and POU, and so it's nice to come out on top. But like most years, it doesn't mean a whole lot if we don't follow it up with a good performance this weekend.
Absolutely. It was a good performance last weekend though against Pacific in the home and home. You guys end up outscoring them 46-6. I had it written in my notes like that, but 46-6. And I gotta imagine with an 8-game win streak, the team's got to be feeling pretty confident right now. What was the energy around the team coming home from Saturday? You guys had already clinched, but had to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we hit the ball pretty well. You know what I mean? So that obviously makes everybody, I think, feel good. And the pitchers did a pretty good job, obviously, winning 6 runs over the games. And Taya was, I thought pitched better and was pretty dominant this weekend. And so everybody felt good. I think in some ways they not that it could be expected to win, but certainly by where the two teams were in the standings, UPS and Mississippi kind of hoped that we'd get the results that we did. So at the same time, I think it kind of kept it in perspective that, we know we have some tougher competition this weekend with teams in the conference title. All the games we lost this year in the regular season are here in the tournament. So, so I think they enjoyed it, and certainly we told them they should be proud, accomplished the goal, and went through a whole conference season only losing 3 games. And so I think they were happy, but at the same time know that tough weekend ahead of us.
Yeah, and 33-7 overall with just those 3 losses in conference. 33 wins actually leads the nation for D3 teams, and it's actually the most for you guys since 2013 in the regular season. How does this team, you think, compare to the teams of the last few years, or certainly earlier in the decade as well?
I mean, it's there. I think you're defined though by how you do in the playoffs. So we'll see. I think. Taya, when she's on and the numbers she's put up this year, certainly that puts us already in the conversation with those teams because you have a dominant one. And then hitting wise, we've just become more consistent throughout the years. So we have a lineup that doesn't have any glaring holes in it. All the kids pretty much that hit 1 through 9 have been now hitting over 300. And we got kind of a mix of speed and power, which has been good. And so, like I said, our true kind of mark and how we compare will be defined by how we play out the rest of the year.
With Taya, you mentioned when you've got a dominant pitcher like that, it certainly puts you in title contention. How do you think she's doing wear and tear wise now after a pretty long regular season where, she was the workhorse and this is where things may start adding up a little?
Well, I think that's what you're always worried about when you have a kid that throws that many innings, and most dominant ones, to be honest, throw that many innings or more. But you're always worried about that, and she's had a few things that have bothered her, particularly in the last month or so, that I think has impacted her a little bit in her ability to throw as well as she probably did in the very first part of the season. But we tried to rest her a little bit more during the week, and she's pitched, I thought, better for sure this weekend and pitched pretty well, obviously, against UPS as well. And so we'll hope that leads into a solid performance this weekend. And after that, then we get a break because regional's not for 2.5 weeks, so we get a nice opportunity to give her quite a bit of rest next week, regardless of what happens this weekend.
One player I wanted to highlight this week is Katie Phillips. Obviously, she is somebody that has been a regular in the lineup since she was a freshman and has consistently produced. This year, actually leading the nation in hits now with 60, and with somebody who has been in as many big games as she has. How valuable is that for a team going into the postseason? Especially when you've got some younger players out there, and just what did you like from her throughout the course of the season?
You kind of put it into perspective. I think she just is, nothing's really too big. She's played in a lot of big games, and she kind of gets the perspective of, what is a big game, and then it's really just able to still, play well at the right time of year, and for her as a hitter to just execute good swings and see good pitches and. She's a kid that just really doesn't ever get too up or too down, and so just her consistency level, regardless of kind of how she's doing, is I think sets a good tone for the rest of the team. And so we rely on her a lot at the top of the lineup, her and Bailey, to kind of set the table, and hopefully they'll be able to do that this weekend and give our kids behind them a chance to put them across the plate.
Absolutely. Another great spot for you guys this season has just been defensively overall. Just really solid, very few mistakes. And a little bit at the beginning of the year, but it seems like once you got those ironed out, everything was clicking in the field. Even with, some younger players at key positions. Claire Seeds in center, Bryn Nelson at second, Ashley Sutton's, been behind the plate since Emma got hurt. What have you liked about the defense, and particularly how have those younger players been able to adjust to the college game so quickly on the defensive side of things?
Yeah, I think the defensive part of the game is an easier adjustment, to be honest, for most than hitting. Hitting is just so much more of a difficult skill. But, Bryn's moved to second, and that's not necessarily her natural position. Okay. She's played it before. She was really a first baseman primarily. But with the needs and the hole we had, she stepped in there, and she's done a really good job. I think she's only made 3 errors or something all season at second base. And so she's just been really consistent for us. And Claire's made some exceptional plays in center field, diving for balls and being pretty rangy on stuff. And has a good arm. And so she's, filled that hole that we were a little worried about losing Kelsey last year. It's been so great for us. And, Ash has stepped in and has done some good things on offense, but in particular on defense has had a really good arm and had a really good approach to trying to be aggressive and throw kids out. And so that's, made it really hard on teams to do anything base running wise with her behind the plate. So it's been real happy with those three in particular.
Looking ahead to this weekend, Matt, that defense is going to come into play with some really nice offensive squads coming in, George Fox, PLU. But I want to ask about you real quick with the Northwest Conference tournament in the postseason. Do you still get excited for the playoffs at all, or is at this point, particularly early in the playoffs, does it just still feel like business as usual after doing this for so many years?
No, I think you get nervous. Like it's a sport where anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and you don't have a lot of control sometimes as a coach of how your team's going to come out mentally, and those are things you do everything you can to put them in the best position. But last year, I didn't know how we were doing the conference tournament. We came in and we played great. But we've had other years where we felt, pretty good going in, and it was a much, we just kind of slugged around and had to battle our way. And, I know the teams we play this year are tough and well coached. And so you're nervous that, anybody could beat us on any given day that's in the tournament. So we know we got to play well, and you got to have a few things always, I think, go your way in terms of breaks and calls and things to kind of help. But certainly if you play well, you hope the law averages work, in your favor. And, if things work out on paper, we should be the favorite team, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. It's a whole new kind of season. Everybody feels like they have hope. I think that's what the conference tournament gives everybody is hope. In years we haven't won it, we certainly went in with, hey, we get a fresh start, and all we got to do is play good one weekend. Where the regular season is so much more of a toll and a grind and an ability to be consistent week in, week out, and that's the negative and the positive of having a conference tournament. Back in old days, the whole goal was to win conference, and then if you did, then you knew you had the automatic bid, and that was, really fulfilling at the end of the year. And I think that's taken away a little bit, like you were asking about the enjoyment of winning the conference last weekend and clinching. Is like, yeah, that's cool, but it didn't come with the big prize everybody wants, which is the automatic berth. And so, there's goods and bads with it, but certainly still get nervous just because there's so much, I think, still on the line.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, just what are your expectations for the weekend? I mean, it's sure to be some competitive softball, but a lot of players that are going to be kind of proving themselves for the first time on your side.
Yeah, how we handle that with some of our freshmen and the youth, and just how we pitch it, and like I said, react to things that happen both good and bad throughout the weekend, and measure how everybody else plays too, because that's something you don't really control. Sometimes you've got in years where a team just all of a sudden real hot, and a pitcher that all of a sudden kind of gets their groove going, and just how we can compete overall. But certainly, again, don't play at home and be the home team every time we play, and have our home crowd, and where we practice every day. All the things are kind of in our favor. We just have to be able to go out and execute hopefully this weekend.
Sure to be an exciting weekend right here in McMinnville as the top 4 teams from the Northwest Conference facing off. Linfield, George Fox, PLU, Whitworth. Going to be great softball. We'll have all the action for you live on the Linfield Sports Network. We sure hope you come down and cheer on the Cats in person at Del Smith Stadium. Action will be starting on Friday at 4 o'clock as the Wildcats take on the Pirates in the opening game. Coach, thanks for the time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.